Tropical Storm Chantal has officially made landfall in South Carolina early this Sunday morning and is now steadily moving inland, bringing with it a considerable threat of heavy rainfall and the very real potential for disruptive flash flooding across broad areas of the Carolinas. We continue to monitor its progression closely as it pushes further inland.
Come around over here.
As of the latest advisory issued at 5 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time today, Sunday, the precise center of Tropical Storm Chantal was located approximately 70 miles east of Charleston, South Carolina, placing it directly over the coastal waters just before its final push ashore. Concurrently, it was situated about 85 miles southwest of Wilmington, North Carolina, indicating its trajectory and the areas soon to be impacted. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, which issues these critical updates, reported that the storm's maximum sustained winds were clocked at 50 miles per hour, generating significant gusts and choppy seas. Chantal was observed to be moving in a northerly direction at a relatively steady speed of 8 miles per hour, allowing forecasters to project its path with reasonable confidence. The National Hurricane Center anticipates that the storm's distinct center will continue its inevitable movement further inland into South Carolina, gradually transitioning over land and then proceed into North Carolina throughout the entirety of the day today, Sunday. A key aspect of this forecast, and indeed a common occurrence for tropical systems that lose their vital energy source from warm ocean waters, is that Chantal is expected to rapidly weaken now that it has made landfall. Forecasters are predicting with a high degree of certainty that the organized tropical system will open up into a trough within the next 26 to 48 hours. This meteorological term signifies that it will lose its well-defined circulation and organized characteristics, transforming into a less coherent area of low pressure and diminished wind speeds, essentially dissipating as a tropical cyclone. Chantal initially intensified and officially earned its designation as a tropical storm on Saturday morning, while its circulation was still situated off the coast of South Carolina. This intensification immediately prompted the issuance of tropical storm warnings for significant portions of the Carolinas coastline, a critical alert designed to give residents time to prepare for the onset of hazardous conditions, including strong winds and heavy rains. On Sunday, forecasters provided further, more granular details on the storm's physical reach and potential impacts, noting that tropical storm force winds, those capable of causing damage, extend outwards up to 115 miles from the storm's central core. As an example of the winds being experienced, gusts reaching 45 miles per hour were specifically reported at Apache Pier, South Carolina, a location situated approximately 100 miles north of Charleston. This illustrates the wide distribution of hazardous winds, affecting areas far from the storm's direct center. Consequently, tropical storm warnings were in effect for an extensive coastal area, stretching from the South Santee River in South Carolina all the way north to Surf City, North Carolina, encompassing a significant and populated stretch of the Atlantic seaboard. Forecasters are currently expecting Tropical Storm Chantal to produce substantial and potentially disruptive rainfall across portions of the coastal plain of the Carolinas, with these impacts anticipated to continue through Monday. Total rainfall amounts are generally projected to be between 2 to 4 inches across the broader affected region. However, it is crucial to note that localized amounts could potentially reach up to 6 inches in isolated areas, particularly where persistent bands of rain stall or redevelop. These elevated rainfall totals could unfortunately result in dangerous and localized flash flooding, especially in low-lying areas, urban environments with poor drainage systems that quickly become overwhelmed, and areas adjacent to small creeks and streams that swell rapidly. South Carolina's Emergency Management Division had proactively issued warnings to residents even before landfall, advising them of additional potential hazards associated with the storm. These included the possibility of isolated tornadoes forming along the coast, which are not uncommon with landfalling tropical systems due to changes in wind shear as the storm interacts with land. They also warned of the potential for minor coastal flooding, a concern due to storm surge, heavy rainfall coinciding with high tides, and persistent onshore winds pushing water into low-lying coastal communities. In a critical safety advisory that cannot be overemphasized, the Emergency Management Division also specifically warned drivers against the incredibly dangerous practice of venturing onto water-covered roads. They explicitly urged motorists to avoid bypassing any road closure signs where flooding has occurred. This warning is paramount because a significant percentage of flood-related fatalities occur when vehicles attempt to drive through submerged roadways, often underestimating the depth and destructive force of flowing water. Even seemingly shallow water can hide washed-out roadbeds or carry a vehicle downstream. Looking at the broader context, the Atlantic hurricane season officially runs for a 6-month period each year, commencing on June 1st and concluding on November 30th. Historically, the peak of this intense hurricane activity typically occurs during the months of mid-August through mid-October, when ocean waters are warmest and atmospheric conditions are most conducive to storm development. Officials from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, had predicted earlier in the season a 60% chance of an above-normal Atlantic hurricane season for this particular year. Their comprehensive forecast anticipated a range of 13 to 19 named storms, which are tropical cyclones with sustained winds of at least 39 miles per hour. Of those named storms, 6 to 10 were expected to strengthen further into full-fledged hurricanes, characterized by sustained winds of 74 miles per hour or greater. A smaller but more concerning subset of 3 to 5 could potentially become major hurricanes, defined as Category 3 or higher on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, with devastating sustained winds of 111 miles per hour or greater. Tropical Storm Chantal is indeed one of these named storms, directly contributing to the busy and potentially active hurricane season predicted by NOAA, reminding us that even a weaker tropical storm can bring significant and dangerous impacts once it reaches land. The continued monitoring of these systems is crucial throughout the entire hurricane season,